Hello, all you beautiful people. CJ here with another episode of CJ Speaks. My guest today is the owner of Crossbody Pro and trainer of your favorite indie wrestlers. He is also a amazing Twitch streamer. If you haven't guessed it by now, my guest is Big Ben Ortmanns. I'm going to give him a couple of minutes so that way he can get acquainted with this format. Freak Dust, how's it going? I'm going to flip the page over, and here are my questions. Alright, I'll give Ben a couple more minutes, and then we will get the ball rolling. As you can tell, I am wearing a Cowboys jersey right now. Unfortunately, they lost about a couple hours ago to I can't remember who they faced, the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, with that being also said, I am in no way a Dallas Cowboys fan. I just happen to be a fan of the player on the jersey, which is Deion Sanders. And since my guest here today is a gigantic Cowboys fan, I figure I would hop on. And also, yes, I am aware that there's a letter D on my hat as well too. We'll see how long that stays on before he will start saying that it stands for dick, but you never know. Gonna give Ben a couple more minutes, and then we'll we'll discuss everything from his career to where he sees himself in a few years, and we'll go from there. Julia, how's it going? As for myself, I am doing fantastic. I've just been having a bit of a lazy day today, actually. Yeah, I had the fortunate pleasure of meeting Ben yesterday for the first time. I am a huge fan of his Twitch stuff, so I figured I would have him on for an interview. I don't know why, but I am sweating buckets. I'm on my live. If you wanna join. Yeah, I'm just gonna give Ben a couple more minutes. That, or I might just start the stream over and I'll message him and be like, hey, hop on my Instagram live. Big Ben is angry. How's it going, my friend? I'm going to send you the request right now and sending out.
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big Ben Ortmanns. How's it going, my friend?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It was really nice seeing you wrestle for the first time yesterday.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate being seen.
So I like to do a bit of a deep dive on my guests. What year and how old were you when you started training?
Oh, man. Well, so I've got a couple of different answers to this. So I originally started my training when I was 12 years old. So bit of a weird answer to this one. But hey, sorry, one second. I'm just going to kill this light because that one is too much, and I'm going to add this one here. Sorry, I'm a stickler for proper production here. So,
all good.
So I actually first started training when I was 12 because I saw that there was a gym that was opening up not too far from where I was living at the time, called the Hart Brothers School of Wrestling.
Mhm.
And it was a Hart Brothers School of Pro Wrestling. So I was just like, I have to go, right? And it kind of turned out to be a bit of a sham and a bit of not what I thought it was. And so I didn't finish my training there, but fast forward to when I was 16, I ended up training with a group called Camp Martell, and it was bare minimum training, and it's not to disrespect them or anything, but they gave me an okay enough foundation to get going, and then it took a really long time to kind of and a lot of getting on people's good sides to have them kind of show me a better way, so to speak, you know. So it's the funny thing is we all get trained, but the process of the proper training is still something that takes so many years after you are quote unquote trained. So
Mhm.
we're always still going. You know?
What's been your favorite match thus far?
That's an easy question. I just had it last weekend in Montreal against Speedball Mike Bailey. Um, that is by far the most important match that I've by far ever had in my entire life. As a matter of fact, today I just dropped a vlog that I worked very, very hard on, and it deserved that hard work just because this was the most important thing I've ever done as far as my pro wrestling career is concerned. I very much urge you all to go and check it out. I have included the full match from a fan cam perspective. It's youtube.com/BigBenIsAngry, and it's episode 8. It's just entitled The Biggest Match of My Life. Again, it was something that I dropped this morning, and it kind of tells the story of how we got there. There's some never before seen footage that I put in there that I was going to release on a different vlog, but just didn't. Billy, what's going on, by the way? Sorry, there's some people that said hello, and I just wanted to say hello to everybody in the chat, by the way. But yeah, like it's a 36-minute long vlog, but like I said, it does include the full match in there as well, because I just thought it would be very important to include the full match on this one. But easy, hands down, that one is by far my favorite.
I feel like anybody could have a good match with Speedball too, though, because like he's just like his work rate is just like next level.
Well, yeah, like see, there's a thing about Speedball, and I mean, especially for me, Speedball has an ability to bring out the best in people.
Mhm.
And the thing that I've been looking to kind of show for pretty much my entire career, like the thing that I've been waiting to get out of myself, it was something that he was able to bring out of me, not just this past weekend, but like when we kind of first started back up in wrestling and whatnot, because my first match back, thankfully, was a 6-man tag match that I got to compete against him, which was the first time I'd ever wrestled him before. So I learned a lot then. And thank you very much for the follow there, Counted Out Tyler. I just saw that somebody followed me there, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, it's just he's just got that ability, and I mean, especially for me and my style, I don't think that there's anybody. And I'm not saying this because he's my buddy, but like I just genuinely don't think that there's another wrestler on the planet that could bring out of me what he did, just because our styles and our mindsets are just so similar when it comes to everything with wrestling. So. Yeah, he has that ability to do that. Of course, he's a really talented dude.
Um, how old were you when you got your green light to do your first match?
I hate that term green light. It's so weird. But I mean, I was 16 when I got my first when I had my first match. Like my first match was a tag team match at Club Vibe in Peterborough, Ontario, where it was me and my trainer against this team, Thorn and CK, and it wasn't good. It was a really weird match, but it was the first time I ever got to wrestle, so I was very grateful for the opportunity. And it was like 2 days later, me and my training group and my trainers were on the road to Nova Scotia to do my first wrestling tour. So there was so that was kind of the cool thing after my first match, is that I immediately basically, like, I had my first match, went home, kind of got to shake the like, oh man, that sucked off, and then like I got to go right on tour to just get right into things. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very beneficial for me.
100%. Um,
Davey,
did
what's
did the Big Ben nickname come from Ben Roethlisberger by chance?
Nope. The Big Ben nickname came from Chris Hordecki, who's an MMA fighter, Chris the Polish Hammer Hordecki.
Oh, yeah.
Um, he just started calling me Big Ben the one day at the gym, and just out of nowhere, and it kind of just stuck. And nicknames are always names that are given to you. I don't like people who come up with their own nicknames. I've always found that to be a bit strange. Your nickname is something that you either earn or that you come up with, or if it's just something stupid like Big Ben. But it was something that he gave me, and because Chris is somebody that I love and respect so much, I mean, I just wasn't going to change it. And I mean, being a part of that team, the Team Tompkins team, will mean so much to me forever. And if somebody from that squad bestowed me with a nickname, that's something that I'm going to genuinely cherish forever. So
Makes sense. Fortunately, my actual name, like my CJ name, is my nickname that my grandmother gave me at birth. So if I ever do it, like if I ever do go into pro wrestling, that will probably be my sort of nickname.
is that your plan? Do you want to get into pro wrestling?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I actually trained with Rip Impact for 3 months, and then the pandemic hit.
Is it something that you're planning on doing again, or?
Yeah, I plan on going back in January with a fresh start.
That's great, man. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Um, Speaking of Rip Impact and classes, who was in the first ever crossbody class, and who was the standout star for you, in your opinion?
Well, the first person that we really took on as far as a student was Tyler Thomas. He was kind of a bit of a straggler, and then we kind of took him on, me and Tid, and this was kind of before we even had the gym. Like, me and Tid kind of took him on as like a project.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever we would get into a ring, like the three of us, like me and Tid would always we would kind of train him before shows and stuff like that. So then when we ended up getting the ring, he immediately became our first student. But then our first real student that we had that came from outside of our already put together crew was a gentleman by the name of Holden Albright.
Ah,
He's the very first outside person to walk through the crossbody doors. He'd already had training elsewhere, but he was our first student that we worked with, and we worked very diligently with. And we've had others, we've had guys like Kobe Durst that used to pop by. We had guys like Space Monkey that used to pop by quite frequently. Anton Alexiev that used to pop by quite frequently. And these are all people that I'm very, very proud of. And then we've had people that have been with us from the very beginning. Crystal Moon, for example. I'm unbelievably proud of her. You know what I mean? This girl she's the only girl that's graduated from our program so far. We've had a couple try, and she's the only one that has gotten through the entire thing and flourished. I'm so unbelievably proud of her. We got kids like Kyle Brooks, who's going by the name Brother Earth now. We had other kids with Chase. He went by 100 different names, and his brother Malachi. Very proud of those two. They're twins who I'm proud of those two just because when you see somebody, especially two people who are when you're brothers, that's one thing, but when you're twins, it's another. So they were always at each other's throats. You know what I mean? When you could see the difficulties that they were having with one another, and just in general with everything, training, to see how they ended up prospering and to see their growth has been really, really great as well. There's a lot of students that we've had that have come through crossbody that have been unbelievably proud of. Some that didn't make it, and they've just gone on to do other things that I'm just genuinely proud of as human beings. This one kid, Cameron, is a kid that I knew was just a stud from the moment that I met him, but I just knew that wrestling wasn't his path. This was something that he was just wanted to do to kind of scratch his itch. And now I don't even think actually, maybe he's 21 now. He's very, very young. But the kid's a fucking fighter pilot. Like, he's done exactly, like, in life, I'm just so unbelievably proud of him, you know? And I'm so proud of all of our students in so many different ways, if I'm being completely honest with you. None really stick out as far as, like, who am I proud of the most? But I mean, I guess of all of our students who have had the most blossomed wrestling career, it would probably be, you know, Tyler Thomas did some stuff with Ring of Honor, so he was making his name in the U.S. before his concussions hit. Kobe's obviously done very well, but I would say the one that's probably, you know, the closest to home, so to speak, that has done the most would be, or not done the most, but has probably made us the proudest, just with his resume, his work ethic, and his attitude and his leadership skills, is by far probably Holden Albright.
Oh, nice. I agree. Speaking of Holden Albright, he wants to know, with the way him and Kobe wrestle, are you surprised that neither one has sustained a injury yet?
He already knows the answer to this. Yes, I am unbelievably astonished that both of those guys are all in one piece still. Kobe, as a human being, scares the shit out of me. So as a performer, he scares the shit out of me even like 10 times more so. Albright is a guy who just loves the art form. I was about to say loves the business, but the business loves the art form, loves what we're supposed to do. You can love the art and then you can love the business, but I mean, man, he's way more about the art than he is the business. And to me, you know, that is probably the coolest thing about him is I know for a fact, because I've literally tried to get him opportunities, but he has straight up denied opportunities because he knew that it just wasn't going to be a good one for him. And in complete retrospect, he was 1,000% correct. And for somebody to be able to have that foresight as young as he does, it's fucking mind blowing, if I'm being completely honest with you, you know? So, I don't know, man. I'm very proud of that kid.
Oh yeah, like they're all just like superb athletes too. Like Kobe's done so much like across like Ontario and Canada that it's just been second to none.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe's heart and passion is another one that's second to none. Like, he's just a kid that loves pro wrestling. He doesn't care about the bullshit. He just wants to make sure that he's surrounded by decent people and that he's able to do the thing that he loves. And that's what I love about him. Like, I love that about him.
When did you open Crossbody?
2014. It was June of 2014. It was a weird how that kind of came about, just because I was in the mixed martial arts world, and I was pretty deep into that world. And then the gym that I was kind of helping like manage and that I was in with and whatnot, I met a lot of really different cool people, because the people that own the gym were, you know, are very high up in that world. And so it was very, very cool to kind of see different people just roll through. Like, one day, I just remember I was sitting there at the desk and there was nobody else in the gym. And then Tom Atencio, who's the gentleman who invented Affliction, just happened to walk in, and he's like, "Hey, is Mark Hominick here?" And I was like, "No, was he expecting you?" He's like, No, I just wanted to pop in and see if he was here." And I was like, "The fuck this is so strange." But a lot of people, like, within the clothing, like that industry, you just kind of get to know. And then I ended up doing a comeback match, which was just supposed to be kind of a one-off. And then a gentleman who was a friend of mine who owned a mixed martial arts branding company wanted to sponsor me as a wrestler for my match. So he did. And then he came to the show, and he really liked what I was doing. And then he asked me after the show if I wanted to teach pro wrestling out of his mixed martial arts club.
Hmm.
So essentially, he wanted to kind of hand me a pro wrestling gym. So I immediately went to Tid just because he's, a really close friend of mine and a guy that I trust, and sat him down and was just like, hey, I don't want to. Somebody just offered me the ability to have a wrestling school, but I don't want to do it by myself. I would need somebody with me. I can't think of anybody better than to do it with you because you're the fucking man, and I trust you, and you're my friend. Do you want to kind of go half on a wrestling school? And he's just like, yeah, sure. So that was really how it started. And then next thing you know, it kind of just blossomed into what we have now. Like now we've got our own facility, which we're on our fifth facility or something like that at this point. It's kind of nuts how this is all kind of worked out, but it's opening up this week, and we are having our first show out of there pretty much we're getting in there on like the Wednesday, setting up the Thursday, having show on Friday to try to raise some money for our friend hacker Scotty O'Shea. And then we're doing an open house on the set. Like we're getting right in there and getting right the hell back to work. So I'm very excited about the reopening of Crossbody Studios, which is the rebranded name for us. And it's something that I'm genuinely like this coming Friday is going to be such a special night just because we've already sold out the 100 tickets that we've allotted for this show.
Hmm.
And the cool thing is that we're going to be airing this live on Twitch, on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/BigBenIsAngry. And I'm hoping to God that the feed goes through okay. We've got our own Wi-Fi set up in there, so I'm hoping that it's strong enough to hold the feed. Otherwise, we are filming it regardless, so if something does happen, it'll be on YouTube anyway. But the plan is to try to stream it live on Twitch. So we're going to do some cool stuff and some different stuff, and we got a really great card lined up for this coming Friday. And I'm very excited about everything, man. Like very, very excited about everything.
Nice. So the show is this coming Friday for people who don't know, right? On
That's
your
correct. This coming Friday, October the 26th, it's going to start at 8 p.m. If all goes according to plan, it will start on time. And it's not just myself and Crossbody Pro Wrestling that are going to be running the Showcase Series. It's this very, very cool joint venture that I can't really say too much about because the Showcase Series it's a surprise show. That's
Okay.
kind of that's like more than half of the beauty of what the Showcase Series is that no talent is announced. I mean, some talent announces that they're going to be there, and I'm completely okay with that. But I don't announce it. We don't announce it, and no matches get announced. So it's just a very fun surprise card because as a member of the audience, you could just be sitting there and you don't know who the hell is going to walk out that curtain, and then you don't know who else is going to walk out that curtain to face them. So it's just a really exciting time. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited for this coming Friday. I think everybody's going to have a great time, and it's going to be a really great welcome back.
Oh yeah, for sure. So this brings me to my favorite segment of my show. It's called This or That.
Okay.
All right. So CM Punk or Speedball.
Wait. So what am I doing here?
So who would you rather face in the ring?
Who would I rather face in the ring?
Yeah, between CM Punk and Speedball.
Hmm. Probably. I mean, it depends because if I'm looking for a bigger paycheck, it would be CM Punk. If I'm looking for the love of the art, it would be Speedball. And I mean, at this point in the game, I mean, I'm kind of doing it for the love of the art. And if the money comes, the money comes. So I will allow you to take that answer as you will.
Would you rather cheer for the Cowboys or the Steelers?
Is that a real question?
I was gonna say I'm totally wearing a Deion Sanders jersey right now too.
I feel like that's a. I feel like that was that. Oh, Cowboys, come
um, Aiden Taylor or Shea Purser?
I'm only going to say Shea Purser just because I know Shea a little bit better than Aiden Taylor because I love them both, but I've had more like chat time with Shea, but love Aiden Taylor.
They're both so good too.
Yes.
Riot Makers or Fight or Flight?
Well, you can't make me do that. Because I don't even know how many people understand that I have, like, that I had a lot to do with helping create the Riot Makers.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're essentially, you're making me choose between my babies and then my friends. So if you're asking me to choose between my kids and my friends, I have to choose my kids.
Would you rather face Tyler Arrow or Von Vertigo?
Vertigo. No offense to Arrow, but Vertigo.
Would you rather use the poison mist or a low blow?
Poison mist.
So
Low blow is for cowards. Poison mist is for Japanese loving artists, and I love decent Japanese wrestling these days. It's like, it is my thing. And I just saw that Pro Wrestling Noah announced that they're doing a combined show with New Japan, and I'm so fucking stoked to see Kaito Kiyomiya versus Okada, because Kaito Kiyomiya is a CBPW alumni. So I'm so excited for this.
would you rather wrestle for Impact or WWE? I feel like it's kind of a given at this point, but
Fuck. Like, are you talking just like one match, or just like
your whole career.
whole career? Is AEW an option?
Let's make it a triple threat.
AEW, please.
At least there, you know you'll get longevity.
I would like that. Yeah, AEW would be my answer if I had a choice between the three.
If you could bring in one surprise guest for Crossbody from a bigger promotion, who would you bring in?
I mean, if I could.
Yeah.
Well, I know who it would be, but I mean, and because I've already discussed trying to do this with him before, and we've tried to sort of tried to make it work. Like we had preliminary discussions about it, but if I could, I would get Kenny Omega.
Oh, nice. Clay put Speedball.
Well, I mean, Speedball is like a guy that if and listen, Speedball knows this, because it's been this way since the first time I've met Speedball. I literally give him all of my dates, and I just say, tell me which ones you're available for. And there was like a 2-year stretch where he was available for none of them. So Speedball knows that whatever dates that I have on my calendar for Crossbody Pro Wrestling, all he's got to do is just message me and he's on the show. It's that easy.
So this might be an easy one, but what's the worst match you ever saw?
That I've ever seen?
Yeah. Think back to your stream, Ben.
That's a weird one for me, because those aren't something that I remember, because I know this might sound strange, but like I might have even seen it on my stream, and I might have gone like completely bonkers over my stream about how much I disliked it, but I just choose not to remember that stuff, because I choose to remember the things that I enjoy about wrestling. So the stuff that I don't enjoy, I just move on from immediately, and then just kind of erase it from the memory banks. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, unfortunately.
Correct answer is Fish Market Street Fight.
That was a little weird. That one was definitely a little weird, yes.
Dark North Order says bigger heel, Clay Wilson or Iron Mike Sharp?
Oh, Clay Wilson. I mean, Clay Wilson is such a heel because, listen, the man tries to plant empty pizza boxes into my bag and then claim that I eat his pizza. What a piece of shit. Do you know what I mean? And then he has the audacity to like beat up old men while they're trying to get their Hall of Fame ceremony, like their comeuppance, something that they've their lifetime worth of work that they've put into their craft. They get their respect and their just due, and then next thing you know, he's out there just to shit all over them. So I'm gonna go with Clay Wilson. You heel.
Um, Elimination Chamber or Hell in a Cell?
Watching or doing?
Both.
Probably Hell in a Cell, because I don't like the chamber looks like fucking that. I work in steel, so when I see the platform on the outside of that stuff, I genuinely I cringe every time I see them walking on it. So uh, ugh. Speaking of hi Ian Skinner.
Large Benjamin. I love it.
I love Ian.
Let's see. Would you rather be a trainer your whole life or do in-ring stuff or in-ring wrestling?
That is a very unfair question because the reality is that I just genuinely love both, and I thought for a very long time that I had to choose either or,
Mm-hmm.
and in a weird way, that's kind of what the pandemic taught me, is that to I'm allowed to focus on myself, um, and I'm allowed to enjoy being in the ring, and I'm allowed I'm allowed to fucking want to be the best that I can be, and I'm allowed to want to be that guy, and be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a really long time where I just accepted the fact that that wasn't going to be me, and that it wasn't for me, and that spot wasn't like that. I just wasn't going to be that guy, and that those roles for some reason just weren't going to be for me. And then I'm very lucky in the sense that I've got friends that are just complete savage human beings, and I mean that in like the nicest way possible. Like complete savage human beings with work ethics that I genuinely admire. So when you get to be surrounded by people with that, you get to see like when you're not exposed to that kind of work ethic, you can't really have that kind of work ethic because you just no matter how badly you want. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
I was just very lucky that I've been surrounded by such hardworking, dedicated people to their craft that I was able to pick up a work ethic essentially through osmosis that kind of said, you know what, fuck what everybody says. Do this for you. Do
Mm-hmm.
this because you love it. And as long as you love it, you have the ability to do it for as long as you want. And nobody can take that from you because at the end of the day, if you work hard, you're nice to people, and you go out of your way to make sure that your art is good, uh, or at least that the attempt is there, then if people can appreciate that, then there's a spot for people like me. And for the first time in my entire life, it wasn't until last weekend that I realized that I could be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a role that I can have because I now have the work ethic and the drive and the experience now to handle that. So
All
yeah.
right. So this is going to be my last this or that, but Minoru Suzuki or Nick Gage? Uh, yes. I love it.
Murder Grandpa. I love Nick Gage. Nick Gage Nick Gage gave me an opportunity essentially to do something that I've been wanting to do my entire life, which was to have an acting role and to do something rather cool. And the opportunity to play him on Dark Side of the Ring was an absolute honor. And I originally thought that it was going to be kind of a joke just because I was never really a huge fan of that style of wrestling. But when I started to learn a little bit about the individual through friends of mine that are friends of his, I immediately went from like, oh, this is going to be, a fun way to make some money to like, holy shit, I got to tell this guy's story. So I'll always be appreciative of that, but I'm just watching Minoru Suzuki genuinely changed my life in the weirdest way. It's so weird to say that, but it really did. It made me love pro wrestling on a whole other level, and it opened my mind up to a style of wrestling that I genuinely love, and something that I just was needing, and my soul needed it. You know what I mean? So yeah, Minoru Suzuki all day.
100%. What advice would you give to any up and coming wrestlers?
Well, I've got a lot of advice to give to up and coming wrestlers, but I mean, if I was to give anybody any advice,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I wish that this could come from me,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish that it could come from my successes. But the best advice that I can give you is secondhand advice, because
Okay.
the advice that it's advice that I got from Chris Jericho.
Oh,
Chris
cool.
Jericho, the day before I started my wrestling training, SmackDown was in Toronto, and
Mm-hmm.
I booked it down. I skipped school and I booked it down there to just meet him early on his way into the building to see if he would give me any advice.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I did get to run into him, and I asked him. I just said, "Hey, man, I literally came here to meet you because I'm starting my wrestling training tomorrow, and you're my idol. And I was just wondering if you had any advice for me." And he said, "Ben, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't make it. I'm just a dude from Winnipeg, and I made it. So if I can make it, you can make it too."
Hmm.
And that has always stuck with me. But there's so many layers and levels to understand that completely. But you can understand that on a very, very basic and beginning level. That if you put the work in, then you can literally do anything that you fucking want. And really, that's the message. But you also have to be realistic about the work that you got to put into it, because let's just say, if your goal is to be like, hey, I want to be out there wrestling Chris Jericho on live TV. Well, how many pro wrestlers are there out in the world? How many pro wrestlers are on AEW? How many pro wrestlers are top guys in AEW? You start to boil that down and you realize, okay, well, what are those top guys doing? How hard are they working? What are they doing? Because if you're not doing the bare minimum of what they are doing, you're not going to be there, nor are you going to take their spot. So keep that in the back of your head, that if you're not willing to put that kind of work in, you have to understand that this is going to essentially be a very, very painful hobby for you.
Okay.
But just because it's a hobby does not make that wrong for you to do. If you love this, and that's even something that just genuinely makes your heart happy, that you could be able to be a pro wrestler on weekends and maybe even only have 1 or 2 matches a month or whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean? That is 1,000% okay. And I completely encourage that. I only just ask and suggest that you respect the art form of what it is that we do and put the work in to follow that, so then that way there's justification for having you on cards and stuff. You know what I mean?
100%. So we're going to end this interview with my trademark question, and that is, if you were to create an Armageddon Hell in a Cell match using only local talent, who would you put in? And that's 6 people.
An Armageddon Hell in the Cell match.
And it's 6 people.
So essentially, if I was to book any 6 local guys into a match, who would I book?
Yep.
Whew. I mean, Albright and Fuerza would certainly be 2 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Kobe would be a 3rd one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we talking local to Ontario?
Let's do across Canada.
Well, Speedball.
Yep.
I'm going to say a kid out in Alberta, just because if it was Canada, I would want to spread this across. Yep. There's a kid out there by the name of Michael Richard Blaze that I think is very, very talented. And if I was to go out, Matt Angel.
Nice.
I fucking love that dude. I had heard so much about Matt Angel and how good he was leading into the match that we did about a month or 2 ago at IWS in Montreal. Mm-hmm. And it was me, Matt Angel, Benjamin Tull, and Alex Silva. And I went out of my way to not watch any of his stuff because I kind of wanted to just experience it for myself. And there was about 3 different times during that match where we would hit down or something, and I would just be like, holy fuck, this guy is unreal. He's so good. I would love to. That's a dude I want to have a singles match with very badly. But there's so many guys, there's so many potential dudes that you could put into a 6-way across Canada. There's so many talented dudes that don't get the recognition that they deserve. There's guys out in the Maritimes that don't get the recognition. There's one dude who I finally saw after all these years, Chris Dillon. Holy shit, dude! He can go. There's guys like Shane Hawk that you wouldn't have heard of otherwise from IWS. That's super fucking talented. Guys like Alex Silva, who was signed to Impact for a hot minute, but some shit happened and whatever. Guys like him out of Quebec, and then you got these young guys that are coming up that are just people that you need to keep an eye on, like the IWS students out there, like Chris Stara and Alex Mays and Zach Patterson, and there's so many great talent out in Canada right now that it's just it is so refreshing and it's so mind blowing, and it's been incredible for me because since we've come back from the pandemic, I think everybody I've wrestled for the most part has been a brand new opponent for me, which is wild considering how long I've been wrestling for to have all these brand new opponents. But and here we are, and it's been a blast.
Oh, 100%. So where can people find you on the internet?
So you can find me on all of my social medias. It's at Big Ben is Angry. I'm on Instagram, the Twitter on there. The Twitter. Jesus, that made me sound old. And you can find me on twitch.tv/Big Ben is Angry. That's where I usually do streams Tuesdays and Thursdays. I usually watch wrestling and usually start at about 7:30 now. It used to be 7 o'clock, but I'll be starting at about 7:30 going forward. And then I'll do the odd stream every now and then. And you can also find my vlog, the Big Ben is vlog or the Big Venus vlog, depending on how you read it, at youtube.com/Big Ben is Angry. And you can also find Crossbody Studios and Crossbody Pro Wrestling at CBPW Academy on all socials. I'm sure that might change soon because we should probably change it to, Crossbody Studios or whatever, or something along those lines. But for now, it's still CBPW Academy, so go give us a follow. And I just appreciate all the support that everybody's been giving me lately because it's been very mind-blowing and very heartwarming. And because, again, I'm just a dude who's just, working my ass off. And for people to see that and to be as nice as they have about it over the last few months has been really, really motivating for me. And I just want you all to know that if you're one of those people, that I really appreciate that. And I hope you realize that I genuinely wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now without that kind of support, which is, I know sounds so weird and cliche for people to say, But I guess now that I'm starting to kind of get a taste of it for the first time in my career, I genuinely understand why people do feel that way and say stuff like that. So, guys like Ian Skinner, who's just dropping hearts in there, doesn't understand. Maybe he does, but, I guys like him who I met through Twitch he was one of the handful of people that knew that I was having like a fucking panic attack like all of last week going into that match with Speedball, because I was just so nervous, because I knew that was a make or break match for me. Whether or not I became a world champion was one thing, that meant a lot to me too, but I just knew that my entire wrestling career was going to be judged and based off of that one match for a lot of people. And it was kind of either going to be an I told you so for the people that said that I wasn't a wrestler, or it was going to be an I fucking told you so from my boys who have been telling me and been pumping my brakes for a long goddamn time. And Ian was there like literally like bugging me, like not bugging me, but like shooting me messages like multiple times a day leading into that match and just making sure I was okay. And guys like him calming me down is stuff that means the world to me, so believe me, that support from everybody genuinely means more than you'll ever know.
100%. Thank you, Ben. This has been one of the best interviews I have done so far.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I know this has been a long time coming and that we've been trying to get this done for a while, but I'm glad that we got to do this, CJ. And it was so nice to meet you for the first time yesterday at Pro Wrestling Ontario. I hope you enjoyed getting this chance to see me live for the first time, and I hope it lived up to your expectations.
Oh, 100%. That and more, my friend.
I appreciate that, sir.
For people who weren't listening, feel free to subscribe to Ben at twitch.tv/BigBenisenergy.
Nice.
You can also find me on all my social medias under my first and last name, which is CJ Cicchini. But furthermore, you can find me here on The Real CJ Speaks 1. And I promise to put out amazing content whenever I can see fit.
That's awesome, dude. I'm glad that you're getting a chance to do these, and I'm glad that you've taken something that was an idea creatively, and that you've moved forward with it, and that you're enjoying the process, and that you're still doing it. And I think that's awesome. And I really want to wish you the best of luck when you get back into your wrestling training as well. And hopefully one of these days you can put that work in, and that Rip sees you as as a guy that can start to work matches eventually one day. And if you can, maybe that's what the showcase series are for. So if anything, use that as a goal to eventually get you going and to push you to do those workouts that you don't want to do, and to do those reps that might fucking hurt at the time but are gonna make you feel so much better the next day. So.
Mm-hmm. So, fun fact, when I was searching up schools in my area, I was torn between Hamilton Pro Wrestling Academy and Crossbody Pro, because my buddy and I were gonna try and break into the business together, and he lived with me at the time, so we were gonna go find which school was gonna be the best. And my buddy flaked out, so I ended up signing with Hamilton Pro.
Hey, all good, man. Hamilton Pro was they were so nice enough to house some of our students during the pandemic when our gym was closed. So I got nothing but love for that gym and that facility and that crew, and and that's the great thing right now, is that a lot of us we're working together these days, and there's not that pettiness or that used to be there in the pro wrestling world. So nothing but love for that squad, and like I said, I wish you the best of luck in your training there, and hopefully we can get you ready to start coming to do some showcase series shows one day. All right, pal?
Oh, dude, 100%. It would be also, like Ben said, this Friday coming up, November the 26th, you can find the Crossbody Pro Wrestling Showcase on Twitch if you haven't bought your tickets for the in-person experience.
Because it's sold out now.
It's sold out.
It is, but tickets are going to be available soon for the following Friday. we're doing showcase series shows, charity shows essentially for the rest of the month. So we've got this coming one on November 26th for hacker Scotty O'Shea. The following Friday, we're going to be doing a fundraiser for our friend Danhausen. And then on the 17th of December, we're going to be raising money for our furry friends at the Cambridge Humane Society. So just know that even if you can't go, whatever tickets that you do buy are all going to an excellent cause for the remainder of this year. And we're going to do our best to help some people that really deserve it.
For sure. And then I'm going to end it off with this. Go Bucks, go. We are going to absolutely smoke the Giants tomorrow night.
Yeah. Tell everybody what your new fantasy football team name is.
Prescott is God.
And on that note, everybody, you have yourself a wonderful evening. CJ, thank you very much for the interview, my friend.
But at this point, it might be Prescott's a fraud, but...
Have a great night, pal.
Have a good one, Ben.